And there we go. The channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. Tonight, Goblin Punks rule, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we are between campaigns at the moment, and so we are playing a variety, a grab bag, if you will, of smaller games. And tonight we have chosen to play Goblin Punks Rule, okay, by Grant Howitt, which is he is someone who has made a lot of little one-page TTRPGs. Like Honey Heist is probably the one that comes to mind as the most sort of widely known, but this is another one of them, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I am Christiana Ellis, and I will be the Goblin Master for tonight. Uh, our players, Lee Burdett as Tweak. uh, Nobilis as Mug.
This is gonna be Bible!
Everyone is yelling noises that are just confusing the microphones. And David Archambault as Mox the Noogly.
Let's have some fun.
All right, so in this game, you're a scrappy little goblin punk. Your mom and dad want you to stay in the grotto and harvest mushrooms, but to hell with that, it's time for an adventure. So that's the kind of game we're playing. Other text from the flavor text from our little game here includes what is an adventure in this instance? It's somewhere between a standard adventure from that popular role playing game and a bunch of snot nosed teens skiving off from school. There are some ideas later on, but no one dies, there's no powerful archmages or dragons, and it's more basement than dungeon. So, the first thing that we need to have each of you do is roll a d20 three times to choose what items you're going to have for this adventure. And if you get the same number more than once, that just means you have a particularly large or impressive version of that thing. And there's a list on the page. So let's. If everyone has already done your rolls, you can just maybe it makes sense to just have each person do all three, say what they have, and then we'll go move on rather than one at a time.
Okay.
I
All right.
already got mine.
Okay. What does Mox the Noogly have?
He has a slingshot and stones, a dragonling lighter, and goblin cigarettes. Got
Ooh,
those from my dad.
nice. Handy that you also have the lighter.
I got that separately though.
Oh, all right. Uh, who uh, who wants to go next?
I got big boots, firecrackers, and a length of rope.
Uh-huh. Very
Really
nice.
useful.
You keep leaning forward and your virtual background makes you disappear.
So I was looking at this.
No, that's fine. I was just yeah. All right. And last but not least, what items does Tweak have?
Pete's got an animal skull, more goblin cigarettes, and some herbs I'm pretty sure are goblin weed.
Ooh.
So here's a question for everybody. Since we do have a duplicate, that's certainly not a problem for me, but I will allow a reroll to not have a duplicate if you all would prefer.
You're the one with the duplicates.
Yeah. I don't mind having the same thing.
It's not a problem for me. I just wanted to offer that in case that was something that anyone else would rather.
They're
you
probably
were-
different brands.
I'm gonna try a reroll.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh, I got a lantern. Fancy. on the reroll.
Nice.
I'll take
Okay.
that.
Okay. So, another big part of being a goblin punk and ruling, okay, is that you gotta speak the hip goblin slang. And so each of you needs to come up with some kind of a goblin slang. And you don't have to say what it means, only what the phrase is or the word. And then when anybody else uses your slang in the game, they will get a token. And so you want to be using each other's slang in order to get tokens, which will help you as the game progresses. Does everyone have their slang?
I
Also.
do, yes.
Yep.
Okay, well, you should say what it is.
Barbo.
Say again.
Barbo.
Barbo. All right, all right.
Mine is Mage Knuckler.
Mage Nuffler. All right. And you, Lee? Tweak?
I had it and then I forgot it.
Oh no.
This is like that part where you're like, all right, now name your character, and you're like, oh crap.
Well, I'm going to toss one of my own in the pot, and this is a wild card, so anyone can use that. And it is smell slots.
All right, I'm going to go with Dungle Barf.
Dungle Barf. All right. So Mage Nuffler, Dungle Barf, smell slots, and Barbo. So you will all probably want to write that down unless you feel like you just got it down because you're a hip goblin punk. But as we progress in this game, when you try to do a thing where the outcome is in doubt, you're going to roll a d6 for me. And if you have one of your items that you think would help in that, you get to roll 2d6 and pick the highest of them. You can also spend any tokens you might have for an additional d6 on the roll each. And if you get a 6, you do the thing. If you get a 4 or 5, you do the thing, but you're going to take either some embarrassment, some shame rather, and you get a shame point or a trouble point, or you lose or break some equipment. And then, of course, a 1 through 3 is a failure, and you're going to also get one of those outcomes. Now, this shame or trouble score, you're going to keep track. You don't want it to get up to 5, because if your shame or trouble ever reach 5, you either give up on the adventure, go home, or you get hurt enough to run away, or get caught by the authorities. You don't want to do that. If that happens to your character, though, the player still gets to play. Would just, that character had to leave. But you can get rid of shame by going above and beyond to impress another goblin. Or you can get rid of trouble by running away or hiding in a specific circumstance. That is the basic idea. That is the game. And so, with the mechanics established, we're going to do some dice rolling to figure out what our adventure will be tonight. So, first, we're going to have to figure out what is it that you're trying to do. And this is going to be 2 d12s. And then there's going to be who's going to stop us aside from the obvious, which will be a d6. So I figure let's have Tweak roll 1 d12, Mug roll a second d12, and then Mox roll the d6.
I'll go ahead and roll my d6. Ooh.
D12 is 7.
Okay.
And 9.
Okay, so the adventure per the table is that you want to clear a basement of some rats and make out with some other goblins that you fancy. But who's going to stop us aside from the obvious? What was your d6?
I got a 4.
A 4.
It's Mommy or Dad.
Mom and or dad. So that makes me just wonder, with the goal of clearing a basement of some rats. This my thinking is this is not your own basement with rats that you're clearing out because mom or dad want you to. This is a basement rat clearing that they don't want. So, is everyone satisfied with those results?
Yep, I am.
All right. I will. You can re-roll any of them if you want, just because the stakes are not high, but those seem like fine options to me.
That sounds,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like fun.
So, I think that what we need to do first is establish an introduction montage for each of our 3 goblin punks here. So, I want to know, before the adventure begins, what are each of you doing?
Hmm.
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 March is uh is hiding in a pile of picked mushrooms because he doesn't want to pick more mushrooms, and this is the place no one thinks to look for me.
Hmm. Right. If they want someone to pick mushrooms, why would anyone look where the already picked mushrooms are? That it just
Yep.
that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. I bumped my dog's head with
Mhm.
my foot. Sorry about that. Okay. So, what is this is this in a place that your goblin family hangs out? Is this or is this like the community mushroom patch or
We we live right next to the mushroom patch, so they say that we're the ones that should be in charge of picking them, but I don't get it.
hmm.
Why?
Here's just a question that it just occurred to me. If it's mom and or dad that are trying to stop us, do we want to consider whether or like I think it could easily be that we've got a collection of the various parents, but it could also be a singular mom and or dad in the sense of if you were like siblings. I don't know. What do you think? You
Or
could
it
all be
could,
just friends.
or it could be the mom and or dad of the other goblins that we fancy.
Hmm. Hmm. Could be. Could be. Uh, so I think, yeah, it could just be. Uh, yeah. So
I like that. The
yeah.
other goblins that we fancy.
Okay. Okay. All right. That works out. So I think that yeah. So let's what we have Mox hiding in the picked mushrooms. What are Tweak and Mug up to?
Um, Mug is sitting at um, at on a stool in a out of the way corner. He's got one of his big boots off, and he's very carefully picking bits of something out of the treads of it with his fingernails that he has very carefully chewed to be like a pair of pliers he designed for picking things out of the treads of his boots.
Mm.
Nice. Where is
My
this
like
stool?
picking other things.
Uh, it's in a kind of a side passage grotto, kind of real heavy of that. Um, and it's on the way to a a a shrine that's no longer in fashion to visit.
Okay. All right. How about Tweak? What is Tweak doing?
Tweak is trying not to hum the Dungeon Impossible theme song as she slowly sneaks down from her big brother's room with that pocket of herbs that probably are goblin weed.
Mm. So here's why all of you are not having fun right now. See, because there was supposed to be a big goblin party with all the cool goblin teens tonight. And it was gonna be the best party ever. And then all of a sudden, the do you want to each choose, like, create your own goblin that you fancy? Or it could even just be there's one single goblin that you all fancy. That could all work. That could work too.
I like the idea of picking my own.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have to over belabor it, but just
Yeah.
So how about this? Um, just choose a name and some pronouns for the goblin in question, and they will all be siblings of each other.
Okay.
Mine is Nash, and
Nash.
they are, you know, they them, because it's really hard to tell what uh what's underneath their glorious mess of dirt and mud that they're always caked in.
All right. Okay. What about Tweak? You could also choose to be a wing goblin if you wanted to help your friends make out if you don't necessarily.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be a wing goblin
All right.
too, and I will throw myself on the attention of the parental units just to buy them a couple more minutes.
Well, we'll have to see how that goes,
Necessary.
but yeah. So you don't have a specific goblin in mind that gives you a twinkle in your eye. But what about Mug?
Oh, let me tell you,
Tell me.
Cece is the most smooth skinned, long eared, sharp toothed goblin girl you've ever met. She will absolutely fill up all your smell slots.
Wow. There. So that's a token for you. Okay. So here's the thing. That Nash and Cece are siblings, and they are the coolest. Everyone thinks they're great. They're definitely the most popular. And here's the thing. They were putting on this huge bash that was going to be a makeout party. But just when everyone was getting so excited, thinking about going to this party and having a great time, what happens? Their mom and dad hear about the party. Someone spilled the beans. No one's sure who. But they heard about the party and shut the whole thing down. So the big Goblin Grotto Community Center that was supposed to hold this big party closed for business. The party looks like it's going to be canceled. But this is where a little bit of luck might just enter the field here, because uh, let's say, Tweak, you heard when you were sneaking into your brother's room for those herbs, you heard him talk about, oh yeah, when we were sneaking around in all the basements of, like those people who live above the ground and all that, we found the coolest hangout place. Like, it's hard to get to, but it's kind of cool because it's hard to get to. He's talking to one of his goblin, friends, I suppose. They're all, like, I don't know, they're out of goblin school, but they haven't gone on to any goblin jobs yet. And they're kind of, figuring their stuff out and maybe taking their time doing that. But as they discuss, you're overhearing this. It's like, it just seems like it would be a cool place for like a party or something. The problem is there's a whole bunch of rats in there, and like, it's just the sort of thing where, like, one rat here or there's obviously not a problem, but like there's so many that they're like organized, right? And they'd put up some resistance, and that's kind of not a chill hang. So I think, we're going to have to keep looking. But boy, that would be a chill spot if someone could clear out all those rats. So, Tweak,
Uh-huh.
that the party was supposed to happen in the Grotto Community Center, but now it can't. But maybe, if this basement could be cleared of rats, the party could still happen.
Oh.
So what are you going to do about it?
I'm gonna keep sneaking out of my house because my brother's he's bigger than me. And I don't want him to know that A, I stole his stash, and B, I overheard him.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And so I'm gonna keep sneaking out of the house.
that seems like something that might involve a roll. So I don't suppose any of your items are going to help you sneak out of your goblin domicile.
Yeah, unfortunately, my skull is not a displacer beast skull. I have a skull that I wear as a hat.
Oh.
It's a goat skull.
Okay.
Just a normal, ordinary goat skull.
All right. Well, so in the instance then that there is no additional item to help you, that's going to be a single d6.
All right. First roll of the game. Yay. Natural 6. Yay.
All right. So that just means that you are so stealthy. No one's going to see you come and go. You're in and out like the wind. And you are able to remember how to sing Goblin Impossible as you do it. And it's very cool. If anyone else saw you, they would think you were super cool, but they don't, because that's the whole point.
Yes.
So, you are able to sneak out of your house with both the intel and your brother's stash in your pocket. But
Yes.
I think you recognize whole organized army of rats. You might need some help for this one.
Yes. And I think I can help my friends out too.
All right.
So I'm gonna beeline over to Mug
Okay.
because he's in an obvious place that I can find him.
Well, I think probably all of you are friends, so you might know each other's hiding spots.
Yeah.
Mug looks up. picks the last bit of bone out of the teeth of his boots. Yeah. What?
I have not a plan. I don't have a plan. I don't do plans, but I have some information, and I think it's going to be good. So I was listening to my brother, and he says that he found a basement, and it's like a cellar basement, and it's big and it's open, and we could totally throw a party there, except there's some rats. So what I was thinking is if we could clear out the rats, then you and maybe Moksh, if we can get him, could look really good for Cece and Nash, huh? And they'd be really, really happy that they might kiss you if you can find them a new venue for their party, huh? 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 What you think?
I put on my boots, strap it down tight. Say, hey man, let's go get Nash. Let's go get Snoots. What's his name?
Mox.
Mooks.
Moksh.
Mox the Noogly.
Yes.
All right.
This is gonna
He's kind of a dunglebarf, but
be.
we need somebody for this.
So, definitely everyone try to be conscious of when, like, I think it's probably going to be something where everyone will sort of be consciously using it when they do, but just remember the token system.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting to be awarded my token. I
I-
don't do it. I don't do it.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I was getting at. So whoever's slang gets used needs to give the token to the person who uses it.
Ah. Oh, that was Dongle Barf is the one that you came up with, right?
Mhm.
Tiana?
Yep.
No, I smell slots was mine.
Smells lots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Lee,
Yep.
Lee
Oh,
came
yeah.
up with
Token?
Dunglebarf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Token to
Okay.
mug.
All right. So, I think perhaps since you're all longtime friends, you might have some idea where Mox might be hiding out when they're trying to get
Yeah.
out of Goblin mushroom harvest.
Yep. You do. You know. You know that if you go to just outside of the big pile where they put put the mushrooms, that and whistle in a certain pattern, Mox will appear.
I think that's too complicated for Tweak. She's just going to start wading through the mushrooms. Like, Mox, come on. We've got a thing.
And you see Mox's face go up, say, "What? Go ahead. My parents will hear you."
Well, then come on.
And he's going to try and sneak out of the pile
Okay.
without being seen.
All right. Well, I think this is definitely, you know, the mushroom piles have already somewhat been disturbed, so this is why you you. So here's what it is not that there's no question of being seen at this point, because they don't necessarily know that you're there yet, but as Tweak has been just wading through the piles of mushrooms, disturbing the piles, and Mug is tromping through there with their big old boots. You hear the goblin farmer, who is perhaps Mox's dad, yelling from across the cave, saying, "Hey, what are you doing disrupting my mushroom piles? Those are all in a neat standard order for a reason." And they're starting to charge your way. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
totally viable
Yep.
option.
Yep.
But
Tweak's gonna run.
is everyone just running,
Yeah.
or does anyone
No,
have?
no,
Oh, Mox is going to try and sneak away and make his uh it's actually his uncle
Okay.
as that's the one that's really wanting the pile to be neat. And so Mox is going to use his slingshot and stones to chip him as he's running.
Uh-huh. Okay. So
So
let's get a roll with 2d6 as you use your item.
ho ho, a 3 and a 6.
Okay, well within another 6, that's another just a standard success then. So just as your uncle, the mushroom farmer, this is Flaps, Uncle Flaps is charging out of his shack and saying, "You hooligans! Don't you know that these mushrooms are gonna feed the mayor?" And then all of a sudden, from an unseen assailant, a slingshot stone connects with their the just right in the back of their knee, and it makes them trip and fall over, and they fall face first into one of their own mushroom piles, sending mushrooms everywhere, and they say, "Oh no, my mushrooms!" And while
The
they are
cabbages.
scrambling to stack their mushrooms in the pile, the three of you are able to slip out and escape the mushroom patch.
See you later, Barbo.
there's a token.
All right.
Okay, so where are we going? What are we doing?
Gotta get those rats.
Ooh,
Yeah,
rats.
we found a place my brother knew where we might be able to get a venue for the party for Nash and Cece. But we
Ooh,
have to clear out the rats first. But once we do, who knows? They might be so happy they give you a kiss.
ooh, yeah. Let's go. Where is it?
Um,
Yeah, you don't
I'm
have
going to assume
Yes,
that Tweet knows where it is.
So you know that, like your brother was describing, that while you all live in this grotto that is underground, because of course it is. However, there have been many tunnels that have been carved that go all the way under various parts of the surface worlders village, and sometimes will dig into their various basements, because that's a good way to sneak supplies out sometimes, and also just to move about without risking exposure to that awful bright hot thing, whatever they call it up there.
Something like a stage star?
Yeah,
Ah,
well, it's just, yeah, it's they like it up there, but they're crazy. So the point is, there's tunnels that go to a variety of basements, but you know the one. It's not as trafficked because it leads to a basement where there's an army of organized rats.
Yeah.
And so people don't usually go that way because they're steering clear of those rats, you see. But you know the one. So that's so it is not difficult. You do not need to roll to know which way you're going.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you might have to decide if you've got some kind of a plan, or you're just going to go straight there. You're gonna what would you do next? You know where to go, but now it's up to you.
so are we just gonna head up there, or are we going to?
Now, I think if we're gonna fight against an army of rats, we're gonna need some weapons. Now, I got my stompy boots, but
I got my slingshot.
that's better for fending off attacks than it is for really getting them. So I think I want to steal something I can use to smush rats. Um, so um, in I am going to uh, divert our path
Okay.
uh, to a surface dweller basement where I'd like to try to steal some kind of agricultural implement that
Okay.
would be good for smashing rats.
So you may absolutely do that, but I will also offer. It occurs to you that there is an ogre who lives on the outskirts of the grotto, who's got a big old club, and it would be extra big for you, but you feel like a pretty good for.
It's not too big for me to pick it up.
Nope, nope. In fact, it
All
would
right.
be an extra big
He
club.
just
means,
uses it as a toothpick, so
Yeah, this is in the gear version is a particularly large or impressive version of the thing. So this would be a two
Okay.
dice added
big stick.
club, but
All right.
the ogre currently has it and he likes it.
Right. Well, you guys create a diversion, and I'll sneak in and grab his club.
I
Now,
know.
we don't have like a helping mechanic here.
Mm-mm.
Can we have like a success on somebody else's die can add a die to the thing that we're actually trying to do? So if they take an action, if they get a success,
Or give it.
then
I think
or spend tokens on somebody else's behalf.
yeah, that's a good. I'm thinking. I was just envisioning a change to the fictional circumstances.
Okay.
But certainly you can do a move that is like the diversion, but like that would be,
Okay.
like if I deemed that it was sufficiently helpful, it would just mean you don't need to roll because the diversion is what does it, right?
All right.
But that's where we'll leave it now. We don't need to
Okay.
complicate the mechanics.
All right. All right. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
So-
But yes, this particular ogre is, of course, much bigger than all of you, and the goblin colony likes him because he guards that particular cave, and it makes surface dwellers think twice before trying to come in that way. But he eats a lot of food. He's kind of, difficult, ornery, you might say.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. But his name is Otto the ogre.
I might have an idea. We gotta take out a bunch of rats. And Otto likes to eat. Maybe if we get enough rats, if we promise to bring him enough rats, he'll let us borrow his club for some time. And then he won't, our parents don't have to find out because he won't complain. He'll be getting what he wants, and we can get what we need.
I mean, if you want to be nice about it, I suppose.
I mean, Otto's kind of cool. Did you see the last time? Did you hear about the last time some adventurers came down here? He 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 took out two of them with one swing. He knows how to deal with adventurers. He might even be able to give us some tips on rat killing.
Okay. Okay.
I think
Okay,
we're
but-
hearing this conversation as we look at you hiding behind a rock, because around the curve is Otto's cavern, and he seems to currently be asleep, which would be good, except that he is all curled up and nestled against his club like a teddy bear. And so it seems like, you know, it might be tricky to try to get that away from him without waking him up.
Hmm. Oh, well, okay. How about this? You go ahead and try and convince him, and when that doesn't work, we'll figure out a way to steal it.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna just go walk up to his cave. Okay. I know. I know. Oh, I know. I
Max, I was sleeping.
I I got an idea. I uh we need to go kill some rats, and your club would help us with that. And if you let us use your club, we'll bring you back some good rats to eat.
All right. Well, he takes a moment to think about that, and perhaps you should roll to see if it works out for you. I d-
Ah, six.
okay.
Wow.
Every roll so far has been a 6. All right. Well, rats.
Uh-huh. There's gonna be
Ah, I love rats,
ah,
but they're so. Ugh. I
yeah,
like them when they're squashed.
that that would help us squash lots of rats.
Looks down at the club, says, "How many rats?"
Mhm. Three three of this many.
He leans down with his big hand and he measures your like where you've got your arms around demonstrating an armful. He's measuring that with his hand and then peering. Mm, it's a deal. And
Yeah.
goes to hand you the club. And as a comic moment, I would like you to roll to try to hold the club.
Oh, I'll be a 4.
Okay, okay. So 4 is you manage, but I think that you, uh, I think that let's see. I think what happens is as you go to hold it up, you're holding it up, but you're a little bit awkward with it, and you kind of just bonk the club just a little bit against the cave wall. And Otto says, "Careful with that. It's my best club." And you're going to get a +1 trouble. That apparently his club is
Oh,
delicate or
okay.
something.
Uh, well, only hit it against rats.
Not a scratch on it.
Yeah,
Rat blood, okay.
good. Okay.
All right.
I don't got the smell slots for these. Uh,
There is a token for you.
and
All right.
eventually I come out, holding this big club. We got it. Phew. There you go, Mug. Just we gotta make sure we bring it back with with three of the three things that are this big each.
There's.
There should be a
I think that's gonna be doable.
yeah.
If there's as many rats as my brother says.
Yeah.
All right then.
All right. So does that mean you're all headed to the basement tunnel now, or do you have more preparing to
Yes.
do?
I'm ready to go. Yes, yes, I am.
All right. So, I think as you are nearing this particular basement, you're traveling down this tunnel, and as mentioned, it's not one of the more well used ones. So it's at first just a little bit, there's more like loose, gravel and debris and cobwebs in the tunnel, which is not a big deal. It's just you can tell that it's not been as well trafficked as your usual tunnels. But you do detect as you get closer and closer to this basement a strange sound that sounds a little bit like
What's that? Is that party music?
Like it. Maybe we're not the only ones with this great idea.
Hmm. Are they competition or are are they uh, are they willing to work with us? Hmm.
Guess
We
we'll
should
have
go
to
find
see.
out. You know, creep forward.
Mhm. Yeah. So as you sneak forward to just get a glimmer of this basement entrance, you see that there is uh, this is, coming from underground, right? And so it's not a manufactured carpentry door. It is what would have just been, you know, a hole sort of chewed through the boards that are paneling the wall of this basement from inside. But you can see that this particular hole has been blocked by other wooden debris, and just outside of this opening, you see a big, beefy looking rat standing there wearing sunglasses and holding a little tiny rat clipboard. You can hear the music. But the rat is just standing there outside watching the entrance.
That is
There's,
amazing.
there's a rat that's standing guard. Looks like he's trying to stop anyone from getting in. It, it sounds like there's a party of rats already in there.
Well,
Hmm,
they are supposed to be organized, but maybe we can get on the list to get inside.
How do we get on the list? Uh,
We buy our way on.
what do we buy with?
And
Right?
she'll take her hands out of her hoodie pockets and then hold up the little bags with her brother's cigarettes and his stash of weed.
Oh,
Here's the thing, though, right? We don't want in on this. We need to clear them out, clear their party out, so that we can have ours. This is not a rat party.
yeah.
Right.
Furthermore, if we don't squish some rats for the ogre,
Otto,
Otto, did we say?
Otto.
Yeah.
For Otto, he's gonna have your head instead.
Yeah. Said
Yeah.
So
I
so so
promised him.
so this is not a friendly
Okay.
encounter. What do you think you are, an elf or something? Mage Nuffler.
Token for you.
Dinglebarf. No wonder
So
Cece doesn't like your smell slots. Uh, no, well, in that case, we do it the other way. The way I had originally planned. Which is we fumigate them out.
Hmm.
Because
that
there's.
sounds like a great idea.
And then you guys can stand and use your slingshots and your club and smash all the rats as they come out. And
I
those all come out this door.
I think I can get the rat that's at the door from here.
um, what Tweak is looking for is like a window or something.
Yeah, I think you don't have anything like that right now. What you have is a tunnel that leads to what would have been just, a wooden wall, right? You're on the outside of like this basement wall, but there would be a hole that they've sort of blocked, but there's not really other windows. You're underground.
Okay.
Oddly enough, the people who built this basement didn't put any windows to the ground.
Oh, see, that was just not forward thinking of them. Did they know that I would need to do this?
Yeah.
Um, and of course, I don't want to go above ground and come in from the house. Um, cause see, all right. So what Tweak's idea is that she will take off her skull and put the weed inside the skull, and kind of push it through the door, and like make all the rats high, so that they'll be easier to squish.
Do you want me to get rid of the guard first?
Yeah, that'd probably be our best bet.
Okay. I'll go up to the corner and peek around with my slingshot.
Mm-hmm. So this is a 2d6 roll, unless you're...
Oh no. A one and a two.
Okay, so unfortunately, I think um, what happens there is that you fire your slingshot and just dumb luck. You know what? Actually, it's not even dumb luck. You see this burly looking rat. Now, to be clear, this is not an anthropomorphic rat person. It's a rat. So, like, goblins are not big, but they're bigger than a rat. This is a big rat, but it's still rat sized, is the key here. Even still, as this rat is standing there wearing its little sunglasses in the dark tunnel, holding this little rat clipboard, you fire your slingshot stone and it just no cell catches it. Just reaches up a paw, catches the little slingstone rock, and then puts it down and then starts stomping in your direction. And you've got, I think in this case, that's probably a +1 shame, because this rat has just made your slingshot look pretty wimpy. But this rat is now stomping in all of your direction, and he's doing the tough guy walk.
We got trouble. We got trouble. He's stronger than he looks.
All right. I mean, he's still a rat, and I'm going to stomp over with my big stompy boots and just
I
I'm going to spend 1 token for an extra die to give me 3.
Okay.
I have
Try
it.
and
I
just
have an
stomp
image.
this rat.
There's like one of the Elden Ring enemies, and then there's the guy in the pink, whatever, and and they're both, like like arms out. It's like, come at me to each other.
See, I was envisioning the one really beefy rat from Ratatouille. There's the one rat that has the little lab animal tag on his ear, and he's just like 3 times the size of the rest of them. Anyway, but let's see how Mug's big stompy boots.
1, 4, and a 5.
Okay, so a 5 is that you manage to stomp this tough guy rat, because as tough as he is for a rat, he is just one rat, and you're bigger and you've got big stompy boots. And I think that you manage to, you know what? We don't have to belabor the details, but you squish him. And
Yes.
the problem is that as you kind of tromp on him, he, as you take your boot away, there's a moment where he is crawling away and just goes, and he lets out a squeak of help, a cry for help,
Okay.
and so you're going to get a +1 trouble as he has just
Okay.
made some noise, and you hear, you see that someone
He has
is like
raised the alarm.
yeah, the
Okay.
door has cracked open a little, and you see a couple of rats looking out.
Oh, Dumbo bar.
Have a token.
All
All right.
right,
So,
but yeah,
Tweak is going to take off her skull, dump the weed in, you know, motion, say, hey, you've got the lighter, light this stuff on fire,
Right? Right. Over.
okay.
and
So
then push it towards the door.
okay, so this is the herbs and the skull and the lighter, right?
Yeah.
So I think
Yes.
that's three
3 more
items
dice.
that are combining here. So
Yeah.
as you make your smoke grenade, or just maybe an incense,
It's an incense burner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so roll 4d6.
Sensor.
All right. 2 5s, a 1, and a 4.
Okay. Well, so a 5 is still, you do the thing, but I think that I think what's going to happen here is that you are going to lose. You're burning up the herbs,
Yeah.
right? The skull and the lighter are fine, but the herbs are all burned up, right? Like so.
Mhm.
But as the smoke begins to pour out through the eye holes and jaw hole of the skull, do you kind of just like give me a mental picture of how you deliver this skull sense burner?
Um. So just taking over to the door, holding her breath, and going try and blow it through the door.
Nice. Well, we
Because
already
nobody has a fan.
yeah.
And just waving their hands at the door to try and push the smoke in.
Okay. Well, so the music has gotten a little bit louder as as this barricade has been moved away a little bit, and the rats that had been peering out hadn't gotten a chance to see much before all of a sudden this smoke is blowing in their face. And so you're hearing in the background the and it is, the bass is also paired with a lot of squeak, 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 squeak. It's definitely rat music. So, and so this
is really Barbo.
Yeah, and they have
Token.
got rigged up. The lights in the basement. They have rats holding up these various shades that they're moving in front of the lights really fast, creating kind of like strobe effects. And you can see that as the smoke pours in, it's really, the lights are really shining on it, and the music in the back is going in the background. But all of these rats, certainly the ones by the door here, are confused by the smoke, but then kind of start moving a little slower and kind of squeak, squeak. And they are acting, let's just say, intoxicated in some way. They're in a chemically altered state. You're not really sure what goblin weed would normally do to rats,
Mhm.
but they don't seem like they feel normal. And they certainly do not seem to be reacting with alarm. Rather, they look like they have suddenly become really interested in things like their own tails, the texture of the wall, you know,
Right.
just
This is the goblin way. Get an advantage and then take it and then take it and then
yeah,
get them all out.
right.
Hell! And
So
Yeah.
the barricade has been moved aside, and all of the rats that were right there by the door are in a cloud of obscuring smoke that seem to have rendered all of those nearby rats
okay.
disoriented.
So I am
Okay.
going to charge in with my big stumpy boots and
Don't
start
step on the
switching
skull.
rats.
and you're and don't forget
Well,
your club.
what?
Well, who had?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And if you're letting me, you hand me the big old club,
Oh,
and I'm
I
just gonna just go in there and start.
you were handed the club at the very beginning.
Okay,
Yeah.
As soon
all
as
right.
we
So
got it.
here we go. I am swinging that club around like I'm a uh, 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 oh my god, what's the name of that
Tasmanian devil.
stupid? No. I'm thinking of this really stupid merchandising anime TV series with the battling tops.
Oh,
Oh,
Beyblade.
Beyblade.
It was Beyblade, yeah. Just
Swing
just
it like a
just
Beyblade.
yes.
Ladder.
Do you have a battle cry?
And uh 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 um no. Just screaming at the top of my lungs.
Ah!
And
That's a
I
good
am
battle
going
cry.
and I am going to leave aside whether I'm taking precautions like say holding my breath once I see what I'm rolling.
Sure, sure.
So two
So the
dice
the
for the
objective is
club.
to charge in and squish a bunch of rats with the club.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so I've got my one die plus two dice for the club and one die for the stompy boots. And I don't see any reason to spend any tokens because that's a lot of dice.
Sure.
And I got one, two twos, and a five.
All right. Yeah. So I think that you charge in and just the rats were uh I'm suddenly reminded of John Wick 4, which has a scene where John Wick and the other, fighty guys are having this big fight, including gunfire, in a crowded dance club, and
Oh yeah.
nobody really notices. Like, there's a lot of people who are just continuing to dance and party and seemingly completely oblivious to the fact that there's, all of this happening right nearby. I guess that also happens in 2, now that I think about it. But actually, is there a dance club fight in all of those? I think there might be, now that I think about it. Anyway, what happens is that you charge in, stomp, stomp, slam, slam. You are squishing rats left and right. The thing is, though, that as you barge in and you are immediately successful in squishing lots of rats, is that you realize, oh god, there's way more in here than you realize. You knew they had said army, but I don't know if you really in your head had pictured hundreds of them.
I can only count to 14,
Yeah.
so
So
Yeah.
there, but now the good luck in that is that most of the rats that you have not actually squished yet don't seem to have noticed. There's a lot of pulsing, trancing
noise.
music going on, and the flashing lights, boom, 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 boom. You see the crowd of rats; they're all bouncing to the beat. But most of the rats that are not directly impacted yet don't seem to have actually noticed. However, I think that let's see. We do need some minor consequence here.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I think a point of trouble would be appropriate given
yeah, yeah.
given that
So you know what? Let's just go ahead and have it be trouble. Is that even though most of these dancing rats don't seem to have noticed, you do unaware. You are unaware because the music is so loud that there are up in the rafters of this little basement, because basements have rafters, right? Um, there is a security team rats that are watching, and they are squeaking to each other and pointing down at you and preparing to mount their own counterattack. So even though the hordes
Sure.
of the army of rats doesn't seem to be onto you yet, you don't realize that you're now being targeted by their SRAT team.
Okay. Okay.
I
I got an idea.
well, what Watch is going to do is run in, and I look around for trouble using his fancy lantern, and
Okay.
maybe he can you know blind and distract the
Huh?
strat team.
Sure, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give it a try with the dice and let's see.
3 and a 6.
Okay. So yeah, I think as you come in with the lantern, um, it really ruins the nightclub vibe they've got, because you come in with just a bright lantern, and they were doing this whole thing with the lights, and it's dance clubs, they're dark, right? They're supposed to be dark, and then you just come in, and all of a sudden it's like when you're at the dance club and you've been having a great time, and you've had some drinks and it's really good, but then it's time for them to close and they turn the lights on and everyone just goes, it looks nicer when it was dark in here.
Yeah.
And so I think that as you come in with that, uh, all of the dancing, like the music's still going, but a lot of the dancing rats are just like covering their eyes and squeaking in their dismay. And the SRAT team up in the ceiling also had just lowered their little rat night vision goggles and are just like, you're only supposed to use these in the dark, they squeak. And so yes, they are disrupted for the moment too, and a lot of the dancing rats have stopped in their dancing and are upset by the sudden change in the vibe.
Eyes over, Barbos.
Token.
All right, so you've got a lot of um, annoyed, disoriented, surprised rats. And probably with all the lantern light, some of them are realizing now also that there's a goblin in here who's been squishing a bunch of them.
So time for some smoke screen.
Yeah?
So I'm gonna assume that Tweet kept the lighter after the lantern got lit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so while all of this has been going on, she's been shredding the cigarettes
Okay.
into the skull with the remains of the weed. And so while everybody is disoriented, she's going to take her skull o stuff and run inside and set that on fire.
Okay.
And try and use one of the was it the little light reflectors that they had been using
Mm-hmm.
to kind of fan it to give like at least a minimum of a smoke screen.
All right. Okay. So I
I'm
think
feeling like the rat squishing part of this operation is a little one-sided.
Well, you're the most prepared.
So as you are going in, you've got the cigarettes and the skull and the lighter. So I guess that's four. Um. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I got 2 6s, a 3 and a 4.
Okay. Well, there's no crit or anything.
No.
But so here's the thing though is that like this. So it sounds like what you were doing is like was the goal here more that you are obscuring what it is that Mug is doing, or are you just is this like like you're trying to get the rats to run away?
Um, a little of column A, a little of column B. I was trying to because Mug is right by the door,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if the rats come that way, like they smell something stinky up at the front of the room,
Mm-hmm.
then they'll go towards that way. But if they can't see very well, then they can't hurt him when they go that way. It'll just be lots and lots of squishing.
Well, so like if you were going to try to drive the rats in some direction, what direction are you trying to drive them?
I'm trying to drive them towards the door so that they
Okay.
all leave.
Okay.
The object is to get them out of the cellar.
Sure. Okay. All right. So I think that you have certainly created a, a goblin cigarette cloud of smoke that is definitely repelling the rats. They are running away from it, and one of them is angrily squeaking and pointing at a little tiny rat no smoking sign. Um, but even that rat is forced to retreat against the oncoming cloud of what has to be an awful, awful smell.
Yeah.
To our senses, the goblins, maybe you like it. I don't know. Anyway, the rats.
It smells like it smells like the loveliest bouquet of garbage that's ever been garbaged.
And why shouldn't it? That's what it's made from.
It reminds me of my grandpa.
But yes, I think that you do send some of these rats streaming out of the door into the tunnel that will lead them back to the like the Goblin Grotto. Which I don't know, maybe that's okay. But yeah, there's definitely dozens and dozens of rats kind of streaming out that way. There's still a fair amount in the place, but you've definitely thinned out the crowd some.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, is this reflector shield heavy enough to squish rats myself?
Well, the move you just did was kind of a lot of stuff that I let you do with one roll.
Yeah.
So let's maybe leave it
Yeah.
there for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think we need more squishing.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely succeeded so far in ruining the party vibe that the rats had going. They're not having fun anymore. That's for sure. So probably Mug. I think it would be it's kind of your turn. Are you still just continuing the assault?
I while I don't like the kind of do the same thing over and over again thing. So Mug comes comes to a spinning halt, staggers a moment, and looks around to see whether there's enough squished rats to fill
Three of this many. Yeah.
3 of this many.
Yeah.
And just kind of try to assess whether enough carnage has been committed.
Right, because if you scare away all the rest of the rats and you don't have enough squished ones, that could be a problem.
Yes. So I'm going to try and just take a moment to assess things. And in a a bid to prove that failure is just as fun as success. I'm going to not going to spend any tokens or
All
use
right.
any equipment. I'm just going to roll a die.
Okay.
I rolled a 2, and so I suffer some sort of failure.
Yes.
Um,
I think that you're going to get another +1 trouble, because as you briefly stop in your stomping and swinging of the club, and the SRAT team from the ceiling rafters take that moment to strike, and they leap from the rafters onto you, and now you have 5 or 6 highly trained and motivated rats trying to claw your face off. And yeah, they're just rats, but you know what? Like, I'm a relatively large human being, and I still would not want 5 or 6 rats trying to claw my face off.
Right.
yeah.
So, I'm just
Especially
saying.
if they actually have coordination.
Yeah, yeah, and they're angry too. You ruined
And
their fun.
pack tactics.
Yeah. So,
Um,
yeah.
I would like to point out that the
Mhm.
rules say that on a 1 to 3, you don't do the thing and you pick an outcome,
Oh, okay.
not but where
Okay,
4 or 5 is the GM picks one.
Fair enough. That's true. It does say
So
that. So, would you like
that
to?
being said, trouble was what I was going to take
Okay.
anyways. So so I'm fine with what we've got there.
Okay.
And
But yes, that's a good point. That it does. That is what it says.
In response to this,
Mm-hmm.
uh, what Mox is going to do is I'm going to use 2 tokens and my slingshot stones and try and pick them off of him.
Okay.
That's 4 dice in total.
So wait. So the slingshot and stones and 2 tokens. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Wow, a 4.
Okay.
Well, I mean, could be worse. It was
Yeah.
1, 3, 3, and 4.
Uh-huh. So I think in this case then what happens is that you manage to do uh pretty well in terms of you knock off with several throws of the slingshot, like what, several firings, several shots, I guess shots, right?
Yeah.
Several
Yeah.
shots from the slingshot. um you pick off the team, and once you've gotten 3 or 4 of them off, they realize, oh no, we're just sitting ducks here, and they several of the rest jump away. But I think in the as one of them kind of jumps away, it does bonk Mug just enough that you lose your grip on the club, and it sails across the room and smashes into uh, what apparently this is the basement of an entomologist who kept a termite farm.
Oh no.
And so you hear the smashing of glass, and you see dirt raining out from this strange tank, and termites crawling all over the club.
That's not good. That's not good.
And that's a +1 trouble for you. Well, you know what? I think that's a +1 trouble because I'm not saying that the club is ruined yet, but obviously it could be if you don't resolve it. Also, those termites presumably are also going to be everywhere else too.
Well, who knows? Goblins might eat termites.
Maybe you can persuade them.
But there's you know, oh, I'm if I can just
Yeah.
go over and just try and dig through and just try and maybe
Sure.
yeah,
So just go ahead and make a roll.
Yep. Only a 4.
Okay. All right. So I think that I think that the thing you were trying to do is to get the club out, right? So you do that, right? And I think that the unwanted no, I think what happens is you get the club out, But in the process, a whole bunch of these termites just start crawling all over you, and some of them get in your pants. And you can't help but just like, oh gosh, and you're like doing a weird like dance to get the termites out, and you look really silly. So you're gonna take +1 shame.
Get them out.
Some of the rats still remaining. You're
Yeah, Tweak
It's
will
not
run over and grab the club so that
Okay.
you can spare your attention. I think that Tweak is not quite strong enough to actually hold the club.
Oh, I mean, you could always roll. I'm not gonna rule that
Yeah.
off the bat.
Okay. Yeah, I'll grab the club so that Mosh can
Okay.
have all of
You
their...
don't need to roll to just go get the club. So if you want to
Yeah.
do something else with it, you can roll, but you can otherwise just get it.
Yeah. She will take the club and aim at the giggling rats. Don't laugh at my friend.
Okay. Yeah. So that'll be a roll then. So it's a double item. So you can roll 3d6 to use it.
Okay. 5 is the highest.
All right. So I think we can imagine as some of these rats are squished that we see their little cartoon rat souls like raising up to rat heaven, and there's a moment where they take the time to think, you know, if I hadn't, succumbed to the temptation of Schadenfreude and stopped running to laugh at that goblin, might have gotten out safe. But instead I'm dead because I stopped to laugh. And then one of the other little rat souls says it was still worth it. That was a 5, you said? Was
Yeah,
the
it was
result?
a 5.
Yeah, so I think that you are managing to I think that the what happens is that you are crushing some of the rats that had stopped to laugh specifically, but you're going to get a point of trouble now because the SRAT team has apparently set Home Alone style traps. And the ones that had jumped off of Mug have now run to the little releases, and a net that it has, it's like an old fishing net, but you can see that they have wrapped around like all of the little ropes of the net. They have it's something you don't know exactly what, but it's sticky and it smells bad. And so this net has now not only fallen on you, but it is sticking to you and stinky.
And sticking to the club, presumably.
I mean, yeah, you're holding the club, so it's also under the net, yeah. So yes, that's your +1 trouble.
Okay.
All right. Well, things are getting pretty hot in here. We've got a lot of the rats on the run, but my courage is failing me, and I don't have my club anymore. I'm gonna run and hide.
Okay. Well, so here's a good question, because most of the rats that are running out the door that you came in. So,
Right.
do you tell me where you are thinking to run and hide? Are you just going to try to hide behind some furnishing?
Under the
Or there's also stairs that go up to whatever this is basement.
under the termite nest.
Okay.
The termite like in a tank type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm running and hiding in the stuff like behind the scrims that they've got set up for the where they kind of shoved all the stuff that they weren't to clear the space back in there.
Yeah.
Back in there.
All right.
Under the stairs.
Yeah. So I think that we get a nice little close up shot of you huddling in shadow with just a little bit of light on your face, kind of huddling, looking worried, and then a termite just crawling across your forehead. And so you can remove D3 trouble.
Okay, and up, and I rolled a 1, so I
Okay.
remove 1
Well,
trouble.
yeah. Okay. Moksh, you don't see where Mug went, but Tweak has got a net on her.
Ew, this is nasty and horrible, and I. You think I can make some clothes out of this?
Let's get it off of you first. Okay. Gonna go over and just try and pull the net off. Just try and almost, kind of wrap it around, almost wrap it around myself to get leverage to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I got you, Tweak.
Okay. So let's see you roll.
Go and use the token
Mm-hmm.
for an extra die. 4 and a 5.
Okay. So I think that I think that you are able to get the net off, and you don't necessarily attract like I think you get some of this uh, mystery substance on you, but not over much. But I think that you see the remaining rat security team looking around this place, and most of the rats have fled at this point, and there is goblin cigarette smoke cloud, and the termite nest is smashed, and you know lots of squished rats too. And they just recognize that, like, even though they are up to continue fighting at this point, the battle is lost, right? It's not just they're not going to fight to the last rat. That's not how rats
No.
survive.
Yeah.
And but there's a moment there where they recognize a strategic retreat is in order. But before they go, there's a moment where one of the rats, who's got a little rat eye patch, looks you in the eye, pointing at you with a just mean expression. And then they run off, and you can't help but think that rat is not done with you. So that's going to be a +1 trouble. But I think that the remaining rats do at this point flee, and you have cleared the rats from the basement. But the basement is also now kind of,
Crashed.
yeah. It's got a lot of squished rats in it. It's got some clearing cigarette smoke, clearing mystery smoke, termites crawling all over. The stinky net is kind of on the floor, and it's leaving like stains on the wood everywhere it goes. So you have achieved victory over the rats. Da 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 da. So
Everybody gets 3 experience points. You can't use them for anything.
yes, that's right.
Well, I I got an idea. Here,
Well, you need to gather up all the squished rats to bring back to Otto.
yes. Oh, we got this net. I'll just lay it out and just pile squish rats on it and just okay. And can I see? Let's tie it around the end of the club to make it easier to carry.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Perfect.
I love that. And I would, in fact, like to see a roll from that, though, which is like it's using the club, which is 2, and the net. So that'll be
4 dice.
a 4 dice roll. But it sounds great, and I just want to see a roll.
6.
All right. Yes, it works so well. It's like it was designed for that purpose, even though you know it probably wasn't.
and, and and the sticky side is on the outside,
Is it?
so
Okay,
so
well,
it
you got a
doesn't
6, so
hang
who
over.
might have
Yeah,
say otherwise? All right, great. So you've managed to clear up the rats. Like there's some rat blood and little bits of fur here and there on the floor still, but like that's not. This is a goblin party you're talking about. Like
yeah,
Mhm.
that's
that's
good trash.
yeah, it's ambiance, right? Now the dead rats all over the floor is like that wasn't as good, but like you don't have this place doesn't have to be spick and span, right? That would
Yeah,
be
of
Yeah.
course.
you know
I mean, spick and span is ugly.
yeah. But so yes, you've cleared up the rats. You've got them neatly packed up and ready for delivery, and you are pretty sure that you have got enough to meet what you promised Otto, and then some.
Good, good, good. Yes. Okay. Let's. Ah. Hmm. What do we do about the termites? They might cause some problems if we don't do something about them right away. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe. Uh. I got this lantern and it's got oil in it.
You want to set them on
Wouldn't
fire?
want to burn the place down.
Hmm.
That being
Now
said, it
let's
is a
Yes.
basement,
let's
so
do
it can't
something
burn
after the
down.
party.
It might burn out.
Hmm.
Let's do
Yeah.
something after the party. Okay.
Good idea.
Okay.
You're
Let's
you're
go. Let's
you're
go back to Otto.
All right, so you're leaving the rest for the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna put my skull back on my head, of course.
Okay, sure. It had a bunch of ashes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's Kina.
Yeah.
It's like makeup.
It's like perfume.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so you leave the shattered termite farm um, as it is, with the assumption that take the termites longer than you're talking about to eat the whole basement, right? I mean,
Right.
presumably.
I mean,
So you can certainly make your way out. Are you doing anything else to secure
let,
the site before you leave
let's
it?
push the door back. Push the barrier back in place,
Okay.
so we don't. So nobody else sees this place.
Mm-hmm.
And so the rats don't get back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Let's go.
All right. So I think as you are making your way back out through the tunnel, and moving through the central part of the grotto to connect up to the other tunnel where you can go with Otto, you do see a lot of the grown-up goblins having a big animated conversation in the middle where they're saying, "Now where'd all these rats come from? They're always obviously running away from something. We need to look into this because we can't just have rat armies that look like they got running makeup and they're half intoxicated just running around the grotto like this. We need to figure out where they came from."
I think it's time to hide.
So like they don't necessarily like notice you. You just overhear that they're discussing that as you're passing.
Well, I mean, we still. It's just still a good idea to
Well,
stay
it's
out.
also true, I suppose, that you're carrying a big net bindle full
Full
of
of
distressed
rats.
rats.
Yeah.
So now that I think about it, maybe we do need a sneaking or a diversion or a something.
Yeah.
Unless you want to try to sell that you've got that for a good reason.
No. Let's hide.
Yeah.
Maybe get rid of some trouble too.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I think in this case, you
Oh.
can run away or hide to remove trouble, but it won't get you to where you need to go, right? You
Okay.
can choose to not go through that area and remove the trouble, but you will still not be where you need to return the rats to Otto.
Well, let's just sneak through. I'm trying to think how I can do something to help that won't cause more
Well,
problems.
so who's carrying the rats, and who's gonna maybe do a diversion or whatever else your plan might be?
I'll hand the club with the rats to Mug because she's stronger. Okay, okay. Uh, hmm. Oh, there's a there's a there's a big bell. Oh, wow. You know, made out of a large cauldron that
Sure.
I'm gonna
The
I'm
cauldron
gonna
bell. Everyone knows that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and hit it with a stone to get them to look that way.
Okay.
Three.
3. Okay. So, I think so. You do not succeed in your attempt to create this distraction. You're gonna need to choose. As we just discussed a bit earlier, you can pick one of those 3 outcomes, but your intended objective will not happen. You want trouble, shame, or to lose or break some equipment.
Hmm.
Shame is always good.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, we've been mostly accruing trouble, so getting some shame wouldn't
Well,
be a
I
bad
think
idea.
Moksh has gotten 2 shame already, at least. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think gonna try and get away, but uh or well, in the attempt to throw it, to shoot it extra far to get to the cauldron bell,
Mm-hmm.
my lantern breaks.
Oh, the so in your attempt
I
to
I
fire the slingshot,
I go really far, kind of
yeah.
overspin, and the lantern flies off of where it's hanging,
Oh
and
no, and breaks again.
crashes against
And
something.
at the same time, your shot goes wide, perhaps because you were distracted at the last moment by the lantern coming off. But it means that your shot misses the bell as well. So
Oh, oh,
so now I think now because this had been intended to be a distraction on Mug's behalf, I don't think you were standing right next to Mug, but I think when folks hear the lantern crash, they probably say, "What was that?" Now, because that you picked, you know what, unwanted attention is a separate item, so I never mind. They don't seem to have they hear the noise, but they don't seem to know where it came from.
go down. And I myself am going to run and hide.
Now, remember, it is not a successful distraction because you failed your roll. So they hear the noise, but they're all still standing right where everyone needs to walk through. It is not a distraction.
Okay, uh, you you go. Uh, Wait till the closest square, then go to auto. I'm going to dart right to the gaggle, right through them,
Okay.
and just be like, rats.
All right. So let's get a roll for that. That's going to be just a 1, I think, unless you want to spend tokens.
I'm gonna spend a token. Oh wait, that was
Mm-hmm.
2.
Okay.
Okay, a 5, better than
5.
the 3.
Okay. So I think that you certainly get their attention, and some of the adult goblins looking at you making this big fuss will just say, "Now, see, here's someone who understands what we're dealing with and is finally having the right reaction instead of this blasé nonsense that you're doing." And then some of the other goblins, including your your goblin math teacher, from your school just happens to be there and looks down at you and just goes, and just you've just realized, oh no, I've just made a fool of myself in front of my goblin math teacher. And
Oh.
you know, this is Mr. Blark, and he just says, Mox, I know rats are serious, but you must keep it together.
I'm gonna get the rats. And basically I ran through it and I kept going.
Okay. All right. So this was intended to be a diversion to attract attention, so the rest of you could go through. I am assuming that's what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Now, in order for this to be a successful diversion, Mox, I do not think you can go the way to Otto.
Oh no, no.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
they have the rats, so or they have the. I gave Mug
Mm-hmm.
the rats and such, so he
Who
can
has the
feel really
club?
good.
Who
You
has the
do.
club?
You do.
You
Okay.
do.
All
Yes,
right.
it's
All right.
Yeah, the
the
club is being used
So-
to hold up the net full of rats.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Bindle
got it.
style.
Yeah.
All right, so Tweak and Mug are able to sneak through while everyone else is occupied by Mox's antics. So you make your way to Otto's
Yes.
corner of the grotto.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The auto grotto, as it
Mhm.
were. And
Mhm.
and present him with our smelly net bag full of squished rats and his club back, completely unharmed, unbitten by termites, and proudly present him with our prize.
Okay. He is inspecting the net and he's holding it and like hefting it, and then he sets it down and puts his arms around it. He's just like making sure that it's the right
Yeah.
amount. And then you see him kind of take his hands away that they've got by handling the net with the sticky stuff on the outside, he's got it all over his hands now, and he's kind of like looking at it and like, I think you need I need a role to justify to him that this does not represent somehow a problem.
Okay.
He seems unsure what to think about it at the moment.
I just say condiments, and I'll spend a token.
All
Roll two
right.
dice. And I rolled a 6, a 6 and a 3. And I should point out that is my first 6 of the session, unlike other
Nice.
people.
So yes, Otto hears that and then looks over and goes, condiments. Fancy. Thank you. Mm. And then he doing his best to hold the net like still just like a big bag. He's trying to like lift up the net to like pour rats into his mouth. Like from the net, like it's a giant popcorn bucket or something like that. But it's a net and it's full of dead rats and not popcorn. And even though he's pretty big, it's not a smooth operation, I'll say. However, he does not seem displeased with this outcome, as squished rats are falling all over him and onto the floor. Some of them get into his mouth and he chews appreciatively and said, this was a good deal. And then he looks down at the club and he says, termites. And he's starting to have he's like sucking on the end of the club to get like little remaining termites off and stuffing rats.
All right.
How'd you like it?
Another.
And he basically just kind of seems to be enjoying his meal in a way that you are increasingly uncomfortable continuing to watch.
Okay.
So,
Hi, Mr. Otto.
I mean, we all have appreciation for a master at his craft.
Sure. It's just it's a moment where you would hate to distract him in any way from something he's
Right.
clearly enjoying so
So
thoroughly.
we will exit stage
That
right.
That way.
Yeah. The way we came. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He seems entirely satisfied with the outcome of this arrangement you've made. In the meantime, Mach, as you ran past the adults to draw their attention away from your friends, I think that you end up running into um, you run into what seems to be Nash and Cece with their young, like baby, like little toddler goblin sibling that they is also with them. So they seem to have been tasked with taking their little baby sibling, who is you know, filthy, like snot dribbling out of their nose, drooling, covered with a variety of sticky substances, and is currently going just absolute ham on what appears to be. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think of what would the goblin equivalent. Um, they are in what is like the mental picture I have is like the McDonald's play place. Um,
Oh.
like those little springy rocking horse things.
Oh,
Um, I think that what they have got is um, uh, a dead goat that has been tied to some sort of
Oh.
a bush, so it can kind of sort of rock back and forth. And
Oh.
this little
Oh.
kid is just really enjoying that. But so you have encountered these Nash and Cece who are currently escorting their baby uh, sibling, who it's difficult to tell when goblins are that age, um,
Ah,
and I think perhaps what it is that you allow the goblin to tell you when they're ready,
yeah.
and so
And
in any case,
so
you
I,
you were just making a big fuss and going on and on about rats and doing that whole thing, and then you run in and it's like, there they are.
as soon as I see him, I just stop and just kind of uh, lean up against something and say, "Hey Nash, hey Chichi, how's it going?"
Nice. How about a roll to play it cool?
Um, uh, I'll just I'll take my lighter. Actually, I gave you the lighter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I
well,
have the I
okay.
have the letter. You could use like the sling like as a pocket watch and just like have the
Or I
stone
mean,
and you're very
how are you on
slowly like just
tokens?
spinning.
I have 0 tokens. I've used them.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd try and use the sling as like a pocket watch that you're spinning. Like to to
Yeah,
to
I
to
think
be to be kind of cool.
I've already rolled the first die.
Okay. Well,
I,
so uh,
is it 2 8?
I think if
Okay.
you're supposed to decide before you roll. So if you've
Yeah.
rolled, then yeah.
So I rolled a 1.
Okay. Yeah. So I think you're not gonna succeed in looking
Oh no.
cool. You were. I think it was. It was just a little bit too late before they noticed you before you noticed them. But so you're not going to succeed in looking cool. However, you can choose between the three. Is this an embarrassment, a trouble, or a equipment problem?
Uh, honestly, it just feels like a shame.
Yeah.
Because yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
4 out of 5. Shame. Ooh.
um. So I think Cece, um, looks at you with a little bit of like uh, let's say just sort of a secondhand embarrassment expression, like,
Oh,
oh, hey Mox, What are you doing here? And then Nash kind of gives you a shy little wave.
Well, the important one has a good reaction.
Yeah.
I I was well, me me and my me and Mug have an idea of a place that you know some of us can go and hang out later. But yeah, gotta keep it quiet.
So yeah, I think Nash looks excited to over to Cece and just says, "Uh, is it somewhere we could like party?"
Yeah, yeah, it is.
They look at each other and kind of giggle and then look back and just say, "Cool." But now we will cut away to Mug and Tweak, who are making their way back from Otto's and trying to, catch up. And as you are now going back through this sort of central crossing, you see the two goblins that you know to be Nash and Cece's parents, and they look mad. And when they see you, they come over and they just say, "Mug, Tweak, have you seen Nash and Cece?"
No?
No, but I do know one of their favorite hangouts, and I'm going to tell them
Mm-hmm.
about their one of their secret hiding places, which is in the roots of a tree up on the surface. There's a burrow that leads up there. Um, and I'm going to spend 2 tokens to redirect them on a wild goose chase.
All right. Let's see that roll.
And I only have a token, so I'm spending that.
Okay.
I got a 5 and a 3.
A 5 and a 3. Okay. Well, so I think that that means, um, let's see. I'm trying to think. Um,
I have an idea that I can
okay.
suggest.
Well, so I have an idea
Um,
too. But what's your suggestion?
they compliment me on cooperating with them, and that's shameful, and I take a shame point.
Hmm.
And
Um.
they say how much they're going to tell everybody just how obedient
Yeah. So I
cooperative I am.
yes, I think the Nash and Cece's mother is just saying, "Oh, Mug, you've always been such a good little goblin. I wish that our kids would take after you. You're always so well behaved, and you know how to treat your elders. And I know that you would never lead us astray. I think they should. If only our kids would take after you. You're
And
just
all
going to
around
grow up to
all of my
be."
peers,
Yeah.
all
Well,
around all of my peers are going, Mage Snuffler.
well, and then like and Tweak is right there
Oh,
too, right?
that's a token. Well, I
Um,
think, yeah, that just
yeah.
feels the most appropriate use of that.
Yes.
Cool.
So yes, that they are belaboring the point. They are going on
Yes.
and on
Okay.
about and yeah. So, but it would appear that at least for the moment, you have
They're diverted.
directed them away from where they would need to be. Now you don't necessarily actually know where Nash and Cece are,
No,
but you have
no.
directed them away from your intended party location.
Right. That's the important thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I think you're just gonna. How did all of you have any kind of a plan for connecting back up, or what do you think?
We didn't plan. We didn't make a plan.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We're playing this all by ear.
Sure.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, then I think timeline wise, you're still a little behind. So we're gonna cut back over to Mox. So
So
uh,
we're yeah.
So I just mean like because you went and talked to Otto and then came back over, so Mox would be a little ahead of you, but you wouldn't make sense to catch up yet. But
Yeah.
Mox, so Nash and Cece told you, cool. So like, here's the problem. Like once Mom and Dad made us cancel our party, they told us that now that we weren't busy, we had to babysit.
Ugh, babysitting is it's just not no fun at all.
And then I think at that point, as soon as you say that, this little toddler goblin runs over to you and just kicks you in the shin as hard as they can, and then laughs and then runs away.
I'm gonna try and play, take the hit like it's nothing, and
Mhm.
like
Yeah, sure.
little
How,
baby.
how about a roll to see how well you can no sell this toddler kick?
Gonna
Which,
just
for the record, like it's one thing if they're like just still an infant that can barely balance, but like little kids can
Yeah.
hit you surprisingly hard.
yeah.
Especially when they get you in a vulnerable spot, like right on that ankle bone.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Like, I think I'm just gonna kind of pull out my slingshot and just kind of, you know, kind of, flip around, like do
Yeah,
trick
sure.
with it.
Hmm.
So 2 dice.
All right. Yeah, that one's a little bit of a stretch, but I'll allow
Ah,
it.
4 and a 5.
Okay. Yeah.
But you know, I take it out and just like kind of actually, instead of
Uh,
just flipping it around,
well,
it kind of goes up in the air
no,
and
no. I think what happens is that you manage to play off the kick by kind of taking out the slingshot and like tossing it up, and then you had sworn that this little kid had just run off that way, but suddenly he's behind you and he yanks the slingshot out of the air and says, "Ha ha! Can't catch me!" and he runs away with it.
eh.
And Nash is like, "Sorry, he's just a little brat. I think that like he's gonna grow up to be like really dangerous." Which, is good, but annoying because he's still so little.
Yeah, well, eh, if he maybe he'll learn how to use it and do something good, or something at least that you know, won't bother us.
So Tweak and Mug, I think as you are going, you're trying to find where Mox ran off to, and I think as you are nearing there, all of a sudden, this little toddler goblin that you recognize as Nash and Cece's little sibling um, runs by, and as he gets close to you, he tries to shoot you with the slingshot. And I think that he is surprisingly on the money, but you can try to dodge and evade. But he is clearly
Yeah.
guarding the tunnel.
I
Avast
am going.
ye, goblins! I am going to get you.
I am going to grab the little snot and and try and tie him up with my length of rope.
Uh-huh.
Don't have any tokens, so here we go. 4 and a 5.
Okay. So yeah, I think that you know what? I think it'll be as simple as this is that you succeed,
Used up the rope.
but you're not going to want to use this rope again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm marking out my rope,
Mm-hmm.
and so we kind of go back down the way we came with him, like trussed up
Yeah.
and held aloft.
I was going to say hogtied, but perhaps gobtied.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gobtied. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have enough rope to hobgob tie him, so
Um,
He's not that big.
Yeah, so I think
No, not that big.
as you arrive back in this sort of weird playground area, you see Moksha's there with Nash and Cece, and as Cece sees you holding their trussed up sibling, she goes, "Oh my God, Nash, we should have thought of that."
There's a little Barbo.
I brought some party decorations. Is this all right?
I think Cece just kind of says, she giggles. So there's an awkward moment as teen goblins who fancy one another are in a public place where it's probably not the right place to kiss, but everybody's thinking about it.
So we got this place to show you. Let's go.
Yeah, it's the place I was telling you about.
And I'll hand the has the toddler goblin gotten a name yet?
No.
Is he not like old enough for it? It's just like it's the baby until
Yeah,
until you
I
know
that's
really.
kind of what I had in my head, but
Okay. So I'll hand the goblet the goblet.
I think that's good.
I'll hand the goblet
goblet
to
or goblet, I guess works.
Goblet. Yes,
the
it's
goblet.
the goblet.
Yeah.
To Tweak because I'm gonna have my hands full.
That's fine. I'm gonna Tweak is still kind of sticky and smelly from the rope, from being on the wrong side of that rope. So it's like you stick the goblet to Tweak's back and he just kind of stays.
Yeah. Well, I think that he would they were already sticky in many ways of their own, and I think it just is like Velcro, just works.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tweak starts doing it. Starts doing the hunchback, and the goblet just starts shrieking and giggling.
They absolutely do. I won't even make you roll for that. So I think that the idea here is you're just taking them to go see the place.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And this party might end up with a very small guest list.
But hey, there's already sound equipment. And so Tweak can be the MC.
Well, so I think that you are on your way over there when I think that we're this is you've not yet achieved victory. We need the climactic confrontation here because what hanging thread did we leave? Of course, it was the security rats who pointed ominously.
Ah, yes.
Did one of you grab the slingshot?
I think it is lost. The goblet has it is vanished somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's underneath all of the ropes and the stickiness.
Okay.
I think that as you are making your way through this tunnel, you are what are you telling them? Like, so what is this place? Where are we going? Is it a secret? Is it a surprise?
And I am going to regale her with the whole story from beginning to end with my my valorous squishing of the rats to obtaining the gigantic club to the all the things that I did to obtain this location.
I want you to just briefly tell me how you handle the part of the story where you just ran and hid under the termite nest.
I just completely ignore it. I just
Oh,
don't tell her about it at all.
There's no no stumbling of like, oh, and then you just, all right,
No,
fair. All right,
just yeah. I
handling
mean,
it
come
well.
on.
Things seem like they're going really well,
Yeah.
but you see that as you turn the corner and find that you are, would now be facing the entrance to this basement where you had, secured your party slash makeout hangout. Um, you find your way blocked. There are several of these security rats who seem to have found some kind of like powdery paint substance and painted war paint on their little rat faces. um, and you see that there are like 5 or 6 of them who have, and they're geared up. They have various little bits of like animal bones and rocks and sort of like they've gone through their whole little action gear up montage phase. And 2 of them at the back by the door are holding a lit torch. And as you come to this place, you see that they've been waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And the one that seems to be in charge with the eye patch sees all of you and says, "Squeak, squeak, 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 squeak."
uh, uh, Soon decided you were making noise and didn't give us
Oh,
any of the
okay.
sound, but
Yeah.
I could see what you were doing. I could
Yeah.
read lips,
It's
so it's
squeak,
good.
squeak, 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 etc. Um,
Yes.
and then
Bleep, bleep,
so
squeak.
yeah, and so I think um, Nash just says, "What are they doing?" And Cece says, "Ew."
And I am going to pull out my firecrackers and hold them and just hold them up to over my shoulder, back toward my friends behind me, one of whom has a lighter,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and says, "Let's do this." Whoosh.
Okay.
Throw the
So
firecrackers at the rats
firecrackers
and
plus
charge in with my big
lighter
stumpy
is
boots.
for okay. Well, I think the charge with boots sounds like a different move.
Okay, so I'll throw the firecrackers
Yeah.
first. Do I get the die
Yeah.
for the lighter
Yeah,
too?
lighter plus firecrackers. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
3.
Okay, I rolled a 6, a 3, and a 2.
All right. So with the 6, I think that you toss the firecrackers just lit. They land right in the center of this crew, and they're tough. They're prepared, but firecrackers are serious business, so they are forced to scatter
Scatter.
as just as if you had thrown some sort of a grenade. They are forced
one
to.
one of them sacrifices himself by jumping on top of them.
Yes, absolutely, and it is not very effective. Pokemon style,
Yeah. Smell of
um,
burnt rat fur.
yeah. So pop, 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 as the firecrackers are going off, and you see many of these rats scatter. But the 2 that had been back closest to the door, jump away, dropping the lit torch they were holding, and you see that it falls backwards in towards this basement, and you hear a whoof sound, and you see flames inside.
Okay. Tweak is
Uh-oh.
Tweak is going to run up to the door and grab the torch.
Okay. I think you can
and
run
peek
up and grab
inside.
the torch without a roll. Like because
Yeah.
it's just sitting right there and the rats scattered. But
Yeah.
you see that they have apparently set up a trail of little chewed up wood shavings that the torch has
Oh,
now ignited, and it's leading like all over. So there are now like 3 or 4 different places of low flames that are starting to grow
okay.
in the basement.
So I'm going to take my skull and try and break one of the trails.
Okay.
The shortest trail. I'm going to take my skull and scoop away some of those debris from one of the trails.
Okay. So are you using it like a shovel
Yeah,
or
like a
I see because my first thought was it's on your head like a helmet, so I thought you were gonna like headbutt or ram it or something.
no. Well, how deep? Well, it doesn't really matter with theater of the mind. But I'm basically like how I took it off to use it as an incense burner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take it off and use it to break the make a big enough break where the fire
So
can't get to wherever it's
let me
going.
be clear that these little trails of wood shavings already burned very fast. So they've already reached 3 little points where they've started small fires. So it's not
Okay.
just like making a break in the little trail. But
Okay.
you could still attempt to use the skull, for example, to
To put out the
Smash
put
fire.
out the fire. Yeah, to try to you know put
I'll try to use the
to
skull
put out the
put out-
fire. I feel
yeah,
like
to
there
put out the fire.
I thought there was some sort of a special word for when you use a skull to do it, but no.
Nope.
All right, so
Nope.
let's see a roll with a one extra for your skull.
6.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I think you manage to to put out one of these fires. I said 3 or 4. Let's say that it's 3 total. So
Okay.
you've put out one of them successfully, and I think as you bend over putting out the fire, there's a moment where you remember, oh right, there's a kid attached to me, because you kind of almost like lose your balance a little bit, but as you straighten back up, having put out the fire, he goes, "Wee again." Um, in the meantime, the rats did scatter, but they, one of them sacrificed himself, but there's a couple more, and they have drawn what appear to be little sharpened animal bone swords that they are now charging. The rest of you that are outside with.
I am gonna charge one of them and say, "Suck on my smell slot, you burrows!" And just try and grab one and
Token.
just yeah,
That's a couple of them, right? Yeah,
yeah,
smell slots and barbos. All right.
gonna try and grab and just like basically
Sure. Yeah.
crush them. Okay, so that
Would this qualify as showing off
Um.
and
going
trying to
above and beyond,
impress?
Yeah.
try and
Well,
reduce my
let's
shame.
see how the roll goes. I think if you succeed, in the roll, like 4 to 6, then yes.
Okay, come on. 5.
All right. So I think that you are gonna maybe take a little bit of. You're gonna get stabbed in the hands a little bit by their little bone swords, but you are they are no match for you ultimately, because they are actually still very small compared to you. And even though they give you some cuts on your hand, so let's call that a +1 trouble, you are nonetheless able to, the ones that charge at you, you're able to grab them and basically like smash them against the ground, or like throw them against the wall. Or are you thinking just like literally tear them apart in your bare
Yeah,
hands?
tear them apart.
All right.
Like that.
Yeah. So I'll you can remove a D3 of shame for being cool.
Oh, 5. So that's 3. 3 shame.
Nice.
Yay.
Yeah. So you do that, and my Rocket has just heard something out the window, I guess. Just one moment. Rocket. All right. Sorry, just trying to have him not bark, because the window is open a little bit, so that barking is. One moment. Hey, buddy.
I'm in trouble when it comes to my trouble. I'm at 4 out of 5.
My goodness. It's probably just someone walking their dog. How dare they? I don't know if you still hear that, but that's like he is
It's
he
very
is very
quiet.
mad. Yeah. uh, yes. Anyway, so I think Nash watches you just do that and goes, "Wow, you're so cool." And you're standing there grinning with rat blood all over your hands. Um, and so I think you've got a couple coming your way too, Mug.
Okay. Big stompy boots. I think I'm gonna use. I've used up the firecrackers.
Hmm.
Big stompy boots and a
So
token.
technically, because we didn't give you the I
The
think you
the
have more
consequence.
firecracker
Have more
fire.
firecrackers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. All right. So I have let off a string of firecrackers. I still got them.
Hmm.
It's with everything going on, lighting those is not convenient. So I'm going to spend a token and use my big boots and lay into them.
All right.
Um, One of them stocked, and it's a 6. So
Nice. So I think between Mox and destroying some of theirs, the one that sacrificed themselves to the firecracker, and the ones that you're now stomping, you have managed to dispatch the rats that had confronted you here. But there's one where you see you've injured him, you've dealt him a mortal blow, but he's still like holding on to life just for a moment, and there he looks up at you, the steely look in his little rat eye. This is, of course, eye patch rat.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and
mhm.
he beckons you to lean down close.
All right. All right. I'll lean down.
Hmm. And he looks to you and says, "Squeak, squeak, 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 squeak,
Sorry. Never learned rat.
squeak." And then he dies, clearly having imparted to you some crucially important final words.
Yes. Yeah.
Hopefully that this was not the Dark Lord's basement.
Wasn't the what?
The Dark
Not the
Lord's
Dark
base.
Lord's basement.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So in any case, Tweak, you're inside, and there are still two more fires going here that are starting to spread a little bit.
Okay, so same thing because me and Goblet are
You
kind of
got
stuck
hurt
together.
from the um
Oh! I'm gonna run go get one of the reflector panels that they
Oh
had,
yeah,
and
for
I'm gonna
the
use
lights. Yeah.
that. I'm
Okay.
gonna use that to smother the flames.
All right.
More, uh,
more area.
Sure.
yeah, it'll cover more area.
Yeah. Yeah. All
My
right.
skull was
So
okay for the little one, but for the bigger ones, I'm gonna need the reflector panels.
sure. So this is a one extra for the reflector panel, and then so two total.
Yeah, so 2 total.
All right.
Double ones.
Oh no!
Oh
The
no.
reflector panel is on fire now. And you realize as you kind of swatted at the fire, oh no, it's on fire now, and it was starting to burn you, and you kind of instinctively toss it, and now it has landed and started a third fire. I think so. I'll go ahead and call that a
And
+1 trouble, and you lose the equipment. So I
yeah,
guess you know what? I
Well,
well
she
yeah.
only just like grabbed the
There
equipment.
are other
Oh,
yeah
yeah.
yeah. So I think it is you're gonna get a +1 trouble for burned hands.
yeah. The I think the I think the goblet on my back is going boom.
Fire! 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 Fire!
Okay.
think
Um.
I um Mach hears that from inside goes, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. Nash is like, we're gonna get in so much trouble if our little baby burns up.
We gotta fix it. Got put out the fire.
All right.
And so gonna go in and I see the fires and I grab up a whole bunch of the dirt from the termite farm and try and use that to smother the fires.
All right.
So, um, to um,
Yep.
6.
All right. Yeah, so I think that is successfully able to put out at least one of those fires there, and the couple of termites that were in that armful of dirt are, popping like popcorn. But that fire is put out, and so I think you have, one tiny one left and one growing one.
Yeah. I think Goblet
Oh.
is on my back going, snacks! Snacks!
I am going to go over to the bigger of the fires and try and stomp it out with my big stumpy boots.
That seems like a good plan to me,
Uh,
but let's
got
see
a-
how the.
I got a 4 and a 2.
Okay, well, so I think that ultimately works, but you're going to take +1 in the sense that you're getting burned up a little bit. Or, well, how
Okay.
about this?
Or I could ruin my
Yeah, I
boots.
was just going to say, I think
Yeah.
that you successfully put out the fire, but you realize afterwards your boots are kind of melty now, and you feel like they're not ever going to be the same again. All those little tread teeth that you were so carefully grooming earlier.
Put my hand over my heart and mourn my boots.
I think Cece comes up to you and puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "I'm so sorry."
They were good boots.
um,
Okay.
so
There's
I think we
one
got
more.
one last little fire.
Yeah, one last little fire. Tweak will follow Mock's example and use the dirt to try and smother the flames.
All right.
Because that seemed to work really well.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and I did get a 6.
All right. I'm going to actually offer that what happens is as you turn to get some of this dirt, you hear Goblet on your back go, ah. And you hear hissing as the fire is goes out.
Goblin.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
yeah.
that will work. That will work.
Mm-hmm. So,
It took me that long to get what you were saying.
yeah, yeah. I was definitely, yeah. I think that, yeah. I think that in character, Tweak would have realized pretty quickly what was happening.
Yeah.
But
Or maybe not.
you are covered with a lot of substances already. Would
Yeah.
you notice one more?
I don't think so.
So in any case, though, the fires have been put out, and you have impressed your the goblins you fancy, and or your friends. You've helped them, you know, support them in their endeavor.
Yeah.
You have now a rat-free, cool hangout basement. Um, you hope that whoever lives in the place above this basement doesn't didn't isn't especially sensitive to smoke, because they probably would have noticed. But it hasn't seemed to happen so far. And at the very least, you don't know how long this basement will stay available and safe for this sort of thing, but it sure is right now.
Yeah, it is.
And it's got and it did have some pretty sweet audio equipment in it.
It sure does, yeah.
So Tweak's gonna go investigate.
So perhaps we can fade out now to, we have a dissolve to dance music playing, Mox and Nash, and then Mug and Cece kind of dancing as couples, and then Tweak up at the little tiny rat-sized DJ booth with Goblet still on their back, running the dance music. And
Yeah.
I think that is perhaps a great.
And,
Yes.
and as we fade out, a careless whisper comes on.
And then perhaps I think we need a little like Animal House style title card of what happens to each of our characters after the events of our story.
um,
Well, Mox goes on. I realizes that cooked termites do make good snacks, and and goes on to basically start a termite farm that and and you know starts starts you know uh,
Their own
making
business.
termite pops.
Nice.
termite puffs. Yes. Mug, realizing the value of a good pair of boots, goes on to take over the surface world cobbler industry and becomes the underground boot magnet of the entire goblin community.
For a second, I thought you were going to end the safe sentence with "takes over the surface world." And I was just going to say, with the boots. Okay, well, it's your title card, I guess.
No. Just.
No. I love that. I was amused. All right, great.
Yeah. And Tweak, with Goblet on her back, goes on to form an army of small goblets who raid uh, other people's basements for interesting stuff.
Nice.
And they all get training from Otto, the ogre, and bring him the choicest rats for a snack in payment.
Nice. I think there's a combined one for Nash and CC that says Nash and CC were grounded for 2 weeks for defying their parents. However, since all goblins live underground anyway, they didn't mind. All right, so I think that's where we will leave our game of Goblin Punks Rule. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and so I think the plan is we will be back next week with something. We'll figure out what it is, but in the meantime, I hope everyone has a happy New Year, and we'll be back for more adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.